All right, let's go ahead and get this party started. My name is Daniel Hansen. I'll be leading today's meeting. And before we get into the agenda, just want to let everyone know that the meeting is being recorded. So if you do not want to be recorded, please jump off the meeting right now. And the meeting is also governed by CNCF guidelines, which boil down to being kind to one another. And I think everyone's been doing that. So I appreciate that. And with that said, let's get into the agenda. So as usual, the first thing we do is I already made sure cloud recording is set. I still need to verify the recording of the last meeting. I'll go ahead and do that here after the call. But also want to review the AIs from last week. So let's just take a quick look there. I'll jump into the benchmark check. But we also, let's see here, we have Near and Kellen that have AIs create issues for documentation AIs from the previous meeting. Looks like maybe this has been added. Let's take a look here. Improve Quick Start Guide UX. All right, cool. Do you have capacity? Okay, awesome. And Mike, I do see you're on the call. So if you have a moment, maybe you could jump into this issue and respond to Near here. And Near, thanks for creating this. After the call, I'll take a look at this more closely, unless I could pause here, Near, if there's anything that you want to call out specifically in this issue. Otherwise, we'll just keep moving on forward with the agenda.
Yeah, it's nothing serious, just a minor improvement on the UX of the quick start guides, where there are multiple steps where we can select the gateway provider. So ideally, I would like to select once and then get all the quick start to follow the steps and not having to select the gateway in each and every step. So just a minor improvement.
Cool. I'll pop this.
Yeah, I think this was.
I can take a look
Go
at
ahead,
it in
Mike.
a couple hours before I forget again.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for doing that. And something we want to be mindful of too is if that is our goal, we also want it to be flexible enough. I know right now, I believe, forget the term, if it's snippets, but basically, reusable text that, since we have two kind of versions of the quick start, right? We've got the latest and then we've got the release, and we want to make sure that common text between those two is located in one location, so it's a little bit easier to maintain, similar to what we're doing today.
Maybe if we are already talking on the quick start, I can raise a question just to get your thoughts. So I have a local script that I wrote that just, it mimics the quick start guide. It just does every step on the guide where I randomly selects one gateway provider, either gateway or K-gateway or Istio, and then I run it automatically. And then at the end, I only send the curl command to see that it is working. So this is useful when I want to set up my local environment using kind or just a different cluster. It doesn't really matter. So the question or the thought, do you think it makes sense or it might be useful to add it to CI/CD end-to-end tests so we can test our quick start guide, but then so I would like to have them synced in a way that if I update the quick start, then the script somehow takes those steps and run them. So I don't want to have the sync manually. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, I think that'd be great. I think we have seen in the past that we get breakage on the quick start guide, and then we're kind of scrambling to try and figure out what's going on. So I would be all for that, and would love to see kind of that job that kind of calls a script and iterates through both versions of the quick start, and then iterates through each documented gateway of that quick start. And then, we're able to say, okay, something's broken here, open up an issue, and allow the gateway provider to fix it. And if not, then that gateway provider is removed from the quick start.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll start with just opening an issue. So I currently don't have the capacity to work on that, but as long as we have an issue, that would be a reminder to come back to this.
And Nir, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, this script that you're referencing is somewhere in a public repository, personal repository?
So it's currently, it's currently in my own fork of Inference extension under hack. I can push it to main if it's useful. If someone thinks it's useful, then yeah, sure, why not? I have two scripts, one to set up just a regular, EPP, and another one to set up BBR. So recently I was working on some development of BBR, and that was very useful for me for local testing.
I mean, if you're maintaining it now, what I'm getting at is if you can, when you create this issue, just link to that, provide some context,
sure.
Add the help wanted label, or again, unless anyone else disagrees, I think it would be great to have. Either create the issue or send a PR. We could discuss it there, but something that we're consistently checking the kind of end to end of all the quick start guides, I think is a good thing.
Okay.
Cool. Let's see. So, Kellen, add documentation for the framework, extension points, the roles, order of execution. Don't see a linked issue.
No,
here.
that was not created. No, that was not created yet.
Okay, and I don't. Okay, let me go ahead and just move this forward here. Give me one moment. Cool. All right. The benchmark check. Let's get a quick look here. It's been a little while since I've seen this, so can definitely. So let's start with the pre-fill heavy.
Pre-fill heavy is the only one that I think is reliable.
Oh, that sounds like Kellen. I missed you, Kellen. So
sorry, I just popped in.
Yeah, you had an AI from last week, and we just punted it to cool. The next meeting. So feel free to jump on the agenda if you have any context to add there. But I apologize, Kellen. What were you saying there? I missed part of it.
Just gonna say, I think this single workload pre-fill heavy is the only reliable benchmark here. So this is the one I look at.
Okay.
In LLMD, we are going to use we have a guide for intelligent scheduling, we call it, which is the default that Inference Gateway uses. I think it's useful to align both and just basically use the same thing. We are going to update those with some results that some benchmarking. We'll have a blog post for the predicted latency plugin that includes benchmarking for state-of-the-art model. I think it was Quinn 30B. So we can just basically do the same thing here. Like we will replicate it in both places.
All right, so NT-pot looks good. KV cache. I mean, I haven't seen previous reports in a while. Are these supposed to be empty, or are we missing something here? The KV cache percentage waiting queue size.
Yeah, the NT pot is the one that shows the diff. Where we kind of package all of our performance into this normalized teapot, which includes TTFT. So we would see a more dramatic difference in TTFT should that have been broken out. I understand that we're almost done with the revamp here, and we should have much richer metrics. But I basically look at this NTPOT P90 to make sure there's a diff, and make sure we are indeed getting better performance on Inference Gateway.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's before the call. That's what I gathered as well. I just I wasn't sure with these missing graphs down here. So what I get is maybe there's a little bit of maintenance that we need to do here to get rid of these graphs. Yeah.
There's an overhaul coming. I don't know if Radhika is in this call, but that is something she's working on.
Okay. All right. So next on the agenda here, near conformance dependency. I know we were just discussing this in Slack, but I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah. So we do have some issue that I know is already in progress. So it's going to be merged soon, but so I just wanted to raise this flag and let you all know that we got no conformance reports for versions newer than 1.0.2. And the reason for that is that we use old gateway API version while the gateway providers, they already moved to the newer versions, 1.4 or 1.4.1. And then things break when they try to run the conformance. I think this is not good for us because when we just introduced the conformance tests, the idea was that we want to have at least 3 conformant gateways in the last 2 versions. So what happened now is that we already got 2 versions with no conformance reports. So 1.1 and 1.2. I'm ignoring the patch releases, okay, the 1.2.1 and those. But basically, we got 2 subsequent releases with no conformance reports. So that makes me a little bit concerned. And I think we should prioritize that, maybe try to ping our friends from the gateways and try to get some help with that to see that we are aligned. So just put it on I've added it to the agenda just to raise awareness of this and see if we can prioritize it as a team, as a community, if we can prioritize it to push in this direction.
I don't see any hands. Yeah, I'll go ahead and respond. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. It's definitely concerning. I know from my standpoint for K Gateway, I've just been wrapped up in some other work and just have not been able to run conformance in quite some time. Nir, could you, I think, unless others disagree, I think it's important to capture this in an issue and maybe actually even kind of link it to our next milestone to make sure that, for the next release that this gets resolved so we don't keep down the road any further.
Maybe I'll just add here first the issue that handles the separation of the Go mod files, one for the EPP and one for the conformance reports and automation. And then once this is merged, and this is going to be merged soon, once that is fixed and merged, I think we can trigger the gateways to start and push conformance reports. I see hand. Yeah, Jackie.
Oh yeah, I've just been following this. I think I brought this up in a few meetings ago. We were trying to do something similar with the Go module separation in Istio to be able to run these conformance tests. So I think starting next week, we'll have some capacity on our team to be able to help out more here starting next week. So Microsoft will definitely be able to help out more and get this move forward or do anything additional to help here.
Thank you.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you so much.
Jackie, just to confirm my understanding is this PR, let me actually pull it up really quick if this is the one. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You've probably taken a look at this, and what you're stating is that this approach is similar to what is being done in the Istio community to handle the multiple workspaces or co-modules.
Yeah, so we run the conformance test as a part of our integration test, and I tried to do something similar to this. Unfortunately, it didn't really seem to be maintainable for us. There were still some other conflicting dependencies. It really wouldn't have made sense for our project to maintain that. So it's really kind of come down to making sure the Gateway API versions kind of stay relatively up to date. For us, that's a little bit more critical.
Cool. Looks like this just got an LGTM from Bob. So Bob, I think last I saw in Slack, you did have some concerns about this approach, but that's been resolved. Is that correct, Bob?
Yeah, I think the main thing is like there is one commit we want to include in the conformance test doesn't include it in the Gateway API 1.4 or above. And also I checked. I think I found the root cause. Like in the Gateway API repo, they also separate the conformance tests in a different package. And like in November, and then their new Gateway API release doesn't include those libraries. Yeah, this is the root cause, and I think in further, like either gateway, the Inference Gateway extension can maybe copy those libraries to the GitHub repo. This is I think this is a simple but like copy a lot of things. I'll see if there is any other way to resolve this conflicts, but currently, at least from my testing this morning, even we split this, we'll still get some version conflict.
Okay.
So Bob, if you like duplicate the code of the conformance that you are, so the conformance tests, they have some dependency on Gateway API, but not really. We're just reusing some conformance parts of Gateway API. So there is this phrase of a little code duplication is better than a little reference, or something like that. Was that your intention? So do you like consider duplicating?
Yeah, I think that's an option. I'll take a look and try to finish this by the end of next week, just before the next meeting, next community meeting. Yeah, I think that's an option to copy those library to the.
Yeah, I actually, so initially when we just started the conformance tests, so we wanted to reuse as much as possible to speed up, the things. But at this point, I think it would be good actually to diverge and remove this dependency, because we don't really have a dependency here. It's just like trying to reuse, but yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, it might be good to take the fixed it forward approach. So at first, let's just make the conformance work in a way that gateway providers can run it, and then we can make this, additional fix.
Yes.
But Bob, in order for conformance to run, not only do we need this PR merge, but you're also saying that we need to cherry pick a commit from upstream to. Is that correct or no?
You mean like yeah, this one only, I mean like only cherry pick this one will still like the 1.4 gateway still cannot run this conformance test. We need to like probably copy more libraries to this to resolve that conflict.
Okay.
Basically not depending on the gateway API, it's conformance package.
Right.
Yeah, but this I would say this PR, the separate conformance test module PR is a good start because like our main packages, either EPP and BBR doesn't depend on the gateway API. Only the conformance test depend on it.
All right. Yeah, if you could maybe help out by adding a comment either in this merge PR, create a separate issue and link to this PR. I just want to make sure we don't lose whatever additional steps are needed so we can start getting gateway implementations that use Gateway API 141 as a dependency to work with the inference extension conformance tests.
Yeah.
Cool. Near request control layer.
Yeah. So I was sending a message earlier to Kellen and Abdullah, and was just sharing my thoughts on this, and I thought it might be good to share it with everyone with the community. So I feel like we made good design choices and pluggability of the scheduling layer, but then when you look one layer above on the request control layer, where there are different set of plugins, it feels to me like there are a lot of requests for new plugins. And I'm not talking about a specific one, just feels to me like every week we get a request for a new plugin. And I was thinking that maybe we should just collect requirements from the community, from the different organizations to see what do they actually need. So maybe we can just do a proper design of this layer with a stable set of extension points. So if I'm comparing to the scheduling layer where we had a few rounds, we made this first iteration and then the second one, and then we understood that we need to support multiple scheduling profiles. And eventually I think it is now in a stable state, more or less. So it provides the functionality that meets almost all requirements that I've heard of. But then in the request control layer, I still see new requirements, and that means that we might have some room for improvement. So I wanted to bring this topic and see if it makes sense. Additionally, as a side note, I've seen Anna's here. So I've seen Anna's PR that specifies TTFT. So maybe we can add TTFT metric reporting to inference extension itself, which I think we currently don't have, but I'm not sure about it. I'll need to check myself. But anyway, if we don't have it, we can add it to the framework. But that's just a side note. Yeah, Kellen, I see your hand.
Yeah, I think collecting requirements and gathering them is fine. But I've seen a lot of those requests too, and I think we're usually pretty covered. Only other things would be like expanding the scope of the project in general, right? Like moving beyond OpenAI or LLMs. Those are the ones I've seen. So I would be interested to, I think we should take the approach that it's working well and solving a lot of different use cases, and let's collect requirements and see if we need to change anything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I'm not
my
saying,
perspective.
I agree. If it sound differently, I was not saying that we need to change. No, I was trying to say that let's try to collect some feedback on what
For sure.
do actually, what do people need? What do they need? And then we can understand if everything is good, yeah, sure, let's keep it. I mean, it's working, it's good. But if there is something that we might have missed, so we can do more iterations on this.
I think that's very reasonable, personally.
Um, is there any
So next
comment
step
from
then
anyone?
is
Yeah, maybe on this call, someone like
I think
feels.
it's reasonable to continue to collect requirements, but in some cases, I feel like we may want to make not an exception, but like it's reasonable. It's clearly that this is something like an extension point that is missing. We don't want to wait for another a full new design, like new design, like what Kellen did, like was great for the the latest one, right? Like there was a revamp. Or was it for Kellen? The data preparation, right? So
Oh
that
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
completely
Yeah.
called for, right? Like we needed to do a proper, thorough thing, right? But there are some cases where okay, we're missing to pass in this data, for example, like in the request. That is useful. That's important. Let's do that. Other cases where there's a clear extension point here that we can just add. It composes with the rest. Let's just add it. Definitely we want to discuss it, but not wait until we collect all the requirements and do another a third design, right? And block everything. It's on a case
Yeah,
by case.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I didn't mean that to say that we need to block. I just want to make sure that, the extensibility and pluggability story, that it all come together nicely.
It's it's for sure a balance. Agreed that we don't need to like have a full design for every point, but also just the other extreme is we make an extension point for each person's little flavor of how they do things, and I think that dilutes as well. So I don't know. Do we want? I am always hesitant to add processes, but do we want a process for adding an extension point here just so we don't go too far one direction or the other? Got it. Cool. Well, yeah, maybe let's I think at least spinning up issues and we can come up with like just a framework tag or something for the issue. Uh, and then we can centralize request requirements and such and see what makes sense to add.
Yeah, I'll create an issue.
cool. Nir, if you could do me a favor in the AI section, just tag your AI for creating that issue.
Yeah, sure.
All right, next on the agenda, Bob, gRPC support proposals. Open this up and the floor is yours.
Yeah, just want to present this. The main motivation is like VLM and SGLang, they all have gRPC endpoint right now. And we should support it not only for the compatibility, but also there are a few benefits, like the efficiency, and also they gives us the flexibility to support tokens in, tokens output. So that means in the gateway layer, we can do the DSAG tokenization. So to support that, there are two things we need to do. One is the API change, and the other one is EPP changes. For the EPP changes, there are two cases. One is gRPC in gRPC out, which means the client is using gRPC to call it, and then also the model server is serving the gRPC endpoint. And for the other case, is the current case, like the client is still using the HTTP endpoint, the OpenAI endpoint, the OpenAI format, but like the model server is serving the gRPC endpoint. So the second case is mainly for compatibility for the current main users. They are using the HTTP endpoint. And for the proposed API changes, the main thing is we need to add an app protocol for the port in the inference pool spec. So this port is defined like how the inference pool is communicating with the model server endpoint, the model server port. The current default is HTTP. But like for gRPC, we need to use HTTP2. And I also copied some definition from the service in the Kubernetes API. They are supporting Kubernetes.io.h2c. And this is what we want to support. And also, one thing I want to call out is in the current API, we have the port shared by both the inference pool spec and also the endpoint picker config. But for the endpoint picker config, the port in the endpoint picker config is solely used for the Envoy communication. This is already using gRPC, so it doesn't need any app protocol to be defined. So the proposal here is we define a new port struct for the endpoint picker config. And like for the inference spec, we are still using the old port, but the old port will add a new field called app protocol. So in this way, we will cleanly just reduce the confusion on like both endpoint on both struct using the same port struct. But one caveat is there is no issue on the client on the users, but for the gateway API developer, they needs to like solve this compatibility thing because the port there is a new port struct used. Yeah, I will pause here to see if there is any objection or comments here. By the way, I also like propose add a git commit RFC for anyone who wants to do comments there, and we'll propose a PR for the gateway API changes, and we can also comment there. Yeah, the other option is like just doesn't change anything, doesn't separate the config, but thinking further, this may cause some confusion. Yeah, and for the EPP changes, we want to put the gRPC support still like in the EPP changes. For the gRPC in and gRPC out, this doesn't change much. It's mainly just I verified like the current approach using Envoy external processing can successfully also communicate transfer the payload in gRPC. So this works well. And for the HTTP in gRPC out, this approach we need to do some transcoding. Like in the unavoidable mutation, we need to convert the JSON HTTP to the gRPC format. And this also works. And currently, the proposal is just like to put this transcoding conversion inside the EPP. We will probably have another like small folder packages, put all the like transcoding logic in it. Also move the existing like JSON and Marshall logic there. But generally this works, and we can successfully convert the gRPC, including convert the request from JSON to gRPC, and also convert the response from gRPC to the JSON format. Yeah, and there are a few points we need some attention. Is first, like Abdullah, I see your hand. You can.
Yeah, just wondering if you are making any assumptions in your POC that you believe might not hold true in the future, especially on the transcoding part. Are you making any assumptions? Like, do you feel that there's something that might break in the future?
Yeah, currently the assumption is like I'm using the headers to identify. The first assumption is I'm using the headers to identify whether it's a gRPC workload, and also like the method. Then if you scroll down a little bit, there is an appendix table all the way down. So these are the main diffs in HTTP and gRPC, and specifically, I'm using first the content tab to like identify whether this is a gRPC payload, and also I'm using the path, the column path, to identify like where this method gRPC method is, what this gRPC method is. So these are the two assumptions, but this is defined in the proto, in the gRPC proto. So this drives to another question, like whether we want to copy the VLM proto and the SGLang proto, but this needs some further discussion. Other assumption, currently I don't think that there is nothing on top of my mind, but I'll see if there is any assumption while implementing this, and we'll call up. And the second table is the response header, and we for the response in the HTTP and gRPC out case, we need to make sure like we convert to the same header so that the client can identify it. Yeah. Can you go back to the like additional points we want to discuss for the EPP? Yeah. The first thing is we think EPP can know like whether it needs to do the transcoding, because first EPP is watching the inference pool, and we can use the inference pool spec.port.app protocol to identify whether it's a gRPC protocol, and then based on the headers, we can know if it's HTTP or gRPC. Then we can do the transcoding automatically. And the second point here is like to do protocol transfer conversion the appendix, we need to make them compatible in the transcoding library. And the third thing is this one we probably need some discussion is whether we want to copy the proto buffers. I think uh, I know like Abdullah is also pushing. We probably want the VLM and SGLong to have a common packages to hold those proto, and then we can just depend on it. But like I think in the first implementation, if that goes too long, if it takes too long, I'll probably first copy some proto first, and then we can always remove later.
So it seems that the VLM copy is a subset of the original protocol that was defined in SGLang.
Yeah.
So if VLM exports that packet, maybe we can just, have a dependency on that one, and that's it, and assume the Black SGLang one would just work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes sense. And also like in the column path header, we can identify whether it's SGLang and VLM if they are using the gRPC client. Okay. Yeah. And for the implementation plan, so the prioritization is like we want to like support VLM. Probably this is not technical true because we want to support both, but we will first import VLM proto. As said, like it's a subset of SGLang, and gRPC out pattern first, but will like fastly support the HTTP and gRPC out because like the current most of the users is using HTTP endpoint. And we'll prioritize the generate API first because this is the like most valuable thing, most valuable API. And for other like further API like embedding or something we will discuss like in the future after this is done. Yeah, and for the gateway implementations, I only like tested the GKE gateway. There is some limitations, so the GKE controller needs to make some changes to accommodate this because of the API changes. But we do need to have conformance tests and to support to let other gateway controller to support it. So the current planning, I'm not sure. For the current planning timeline is probably get this in by the LMD 0.6. I'm not sure like what's the version for the gateway API extension will be for this, but for timeline wise, that's the goal.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of good work here with this proposal. So, yeah, I would just suggest others take time. Looks like Bella's provided some comments. Others can take a look and provide feedback. And then, let's see, related issues. Let's see here. Is this the gRPC port? Okay.
Yeah, for this one, I have a POC in the other tab. So I use the standalone EPP because currently like the gateway controller needs some changes.
Okay, I know OMD. But you don't have a specific issue tied to this proposal. If not, maybe create it. And I don't know if you want to try and divvy out some of the work and look to the community to help you. If so, I'd say create kind of sub issues, link those to this issue that's tied to this proposal. And yeah, I mean, unless anyone has issues, it seems like you put a lot of thought and time into this. I don't feel free to speak up if anyone's against adding gRPC model server support to Inference extension, but to me it makes sense, especially with VLM and SGLane supporting it. Cool. So that brings us to the end of the agenda. Unless anyone else has a topic to discuss, we do have a few minutes here. So I guess the other option too is if you are new to the project, thanks for joining the call. I could pause here for a second if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'll come off you. David Edelson. I work at NVIDIA in the developer relations with the disaggregated inference communities, including Dynamo, and some people already dropped the people I know here. So working with the interest of NVIDIA with the inference gateway, connections to Dynamo, LLMD, and gRPC, how all of these are going to engage together with Kubernetes.
Very cool. Well, David, appreciate you joining, and yeah, let us know if there's anything we could do to help you out.
Thanks very much. Thanks for being welcoming. Glad to be here. And NVIDIA is happy to engage with all these important projects.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else want to introduce yourself? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap things up.
Oh, sure. Thanks. Hi, I'm Daniel here from, I work for Together AI, and I'm on staff SRE there. We're specifically on the inference side. So we have a number of various LLM engines that we're using, and looking for thoughts, ideas on various aspects, and yeah. It's not my first time at one of these meetings, but and we've been following the project for a while. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity to introduce myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, thanks for stepping up and for the introduction. And yeah, again, just let us know if there's anything we can do to help you out, and we'll do so.
Cheers. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, again, thanks everyone for joining, and we will catch you online. Have a great day.